Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is November 11th, 2024, and Barcelona have suffered two major injury blows. Also, proof that Robert Lewandowski's goal was onside. And finally, the Royal Spanish Football Federation has defended their decision to disallow Lewandowski's goal. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News live podcast, where not only do we discuss Barcelona news, but where I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting the discussion going. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and go straight into the news. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to Goal Kids, Get Back, or Fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are down below in the description. If you click on them, you'll be supporting this channel, but you would also be helping yourself because you do get access to some pretty cool discounts, offers, deals that otherwise you would not get without the links. Now, let's dive right into the news. And as always, the first segment of news has three small bits of news combined together, starting with this image of Ferran Torres, who was seen today in Valencia helping out the victims of the flooding. If you don't know by now, the region of Valencia in Spain were hit with some record-breaking floodings. Over 200 people have died. The floodings have caused tremendous destruction, destroying people's houses, buildings, businesses, closing off streets, piles of cars, etc., especially those areas, the more remote areas like the villages around the city of Valencia that have been affected very, very hard. And of course, Ferran Torres is from Valencia. He is from Valencia, and as such, he has been seen in Valencia volunteering, helping, shoveling dirt, cleaning up, helping the victims of this flooding. So well done, Ferran Torres, not only for helping your community, but for setting an example to all of us on how we should all help out our community when our community is in need. Now, more news, because yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Barcelona lost to Real Sociedad 0-1 in Anoeta in what was a pretty disastrous match for Barcelona, despite the refereeing mistake, which we will talk about during today's podcast. But yesterday, Barcelona broke a negative record. Now, so far, Barcelona have been breaking records as far as performing out of this world, as far as being a great, solid team that cannot stop scoring, that cannot stop winning. But yesterday, they broke a record that we did not want to break. And that record is that during yesterday's match, Barcelona had 0 shots on goal. And this has not happened since 2014, where Barcelona did that against Malaga. So yesterday, Hansi Flick's Barcelona broke a 10-year record where Barcelona had not gone a match where they had 0 shots on target, which is, of course, a great indication of how terrible yesterday's match was, which is another reason why I said in yesterday's podcast or in yesterday's post-match live analysis and during the watch-along that, yes, the referee's mistake was grotesque. However, Barcelona did not lose because of the referee. Barcelona lost because they had a terrible, terrible match, and this is great proof of that. 0 shots on target, something that Barcelona had not done since 2014 against Malaga. Now, speaking of yesterday's match and speaking of yesterday's VAR error as far as disallowing Lewandowski's goal, look at what Raphinha posted, and I will make this bigger. But Raphinha on his Instagram page mocking the VAR decision to disallow Lewandowski's goal, of course, showing the image of the supposed offside, the computer rendering showing that supposedly Lewandowski's foot was past the offside line, and then with that picture that shows, an incredibly long shoes, and of course tagging Robert Lewandowski. Pretty hilarious post by Raphinha, and of course I decided to share with you just to at least laugh about it, because what happened yesterday was definitely a disaster, an absolute disaster, a refereeing disaster. But A pretty funny post by Gotinha. And of course, we will be talking about that referee decision later on. Now, I just hope that the La Liga doesn't go and punish Raphinha because, of course, as you know, unless your name is Vinicius Jr., you can't say anything. You can't do anything. But if you're Vinicius Jr., you could do whatever. You could call the referee a son of a bitch. You can call him crazy. You can say that he's high. You can punch players because Vinicius punched a player. He did receive a red card, then got reversed. So unless you're Vinicius, you cannot say anything. So let's just hope that La Liga doesn't decide to punish Gotinha for this incredibly hilarious post. All right, let's do the comment section, and then we will talk about the injury blows that Barcelona have received as of yesterday's result was not enough. Jay Ramos says, is there any possibility of a rematch? No, there isn't a possibility of a rematch. That's not something that La Liga does. Usually, refereeing errors are refereeing errors. If it costs you the game, it costs you the game. They do not care. And plus, I'll tell you also why they do not care once I talk about the statements of the VAR official that has talked about yesterday's travesty. All right, Curtis says they will never admit they're wrong because they have an agenda, which is to assist Madrid in winning La Liga. I don't think they have an agenda to assist Madrid to winning La Liga. If I believe that, like I said many times, I wouldn't bother watching. Why would you want to watch a sport where you know the outcome is already predetermined? However, is there favoritism towards Madrid? Sure. A lot of the referees are Madridistas, including yesterday's referee. A lot of members of the Royal Spanish Football Federation, a lot of the members of La Liga, including the president himself, Javier Tebas, a lot of members of the committee of referees. They're all self-declared Madridistas. Some of them are Madrid club members or socios, whatever the hell you want to call them. Some of them are former Madrid directors or employees. So is there favoritism towards Madrid? Absolutely. Is there an actual agenda where these people are like purposely making these mistakes to make sure Madrid wins and Barcelona now? No. Again, if I believe that, I wouldn't bother watching. Plus, if there really was an agenda that, to make sure that Barcelona is always losing, where was that agenda in the Clásico where we completely spanked Real Madrid? Triple X says, Mo, recently I've been watching Rafael Leão matches online from 2021. We should go all in for the guy. He's got some insane Ballon d'Or level talent, blistering pace, dribbling strength, and creativity. Don't get me wrong. I think Leão is the most talented left winger in the world right now. Everything you said is correct. He does have incredible pace, dribbling. His strength is insane. Like, he's really big, but despite that, he's pretty fast as well, which is, usually is the opposite. The bigger you are, the slower you are, the smaller you are, the faster you are. Leão is big, strong, and still pretty fast. It has, incredible pace. My only problem with Leão is that he has been inconsistent at times. Sometimes if he's really focused, he gives you the performance of a lifetime, and sometimes he just disappears. And that's a little bit worrying, especially because the price. If we're going to pay, 75 million or 100 million for him, plus I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pretty high salary, you have to have a player that's consistent. You cannot spend that much money on an inconsistent player. Now, if you tell me Leão is coming for free, then I don't care how inconsistent he is. If he gives you two great matches, and then he disappears for 3, then okay, have him play those 2 great matches and then sub him out the other 3. But to pay that much money in salary and in transfer fee for a player that's not consistent, that's a big worry for me. Because once you start paying, 50, 60, 70, 80 million for players, they need to be players who are consistent, who are going to come here and completely change things and be consistent about it, and not just like give you a great match and then disappear for 5 or 6. Isa says, hi, Mo. Isa from Freetown, Sierra Leone. My team made to lose 5 million leones in my first bet. It hurt, bro. 2 loss in 1 day. Damn it. Now, I'm sorry you lost some money. How much is 5 million leones in dollars? Please let me know just so I can get a better idea. Or if you don't feel like sharing that, that's totally fine. But 5 million sounds like, whoo, but of course, we're talking about a different currency. So some context would be nice. Curtis says, we also have ourselves to blame because if we play well and score goals, our referee can affect the game. We had a bad match and we have to accept it. Exactly. That's something I talked about a lot during the watch along. I talked about it in a post-match live analysis. I even talked about it in a news video, right? The referee error is clear. I don't think it's up for debate. It's pretty clear, especially after the images that I will show you. But regardless of that happened at what? 12th minute, 15th minute, something like that. We still had another 70 minutes to go. And Barcelona should have been able to score at least one more goal during the 70 goals, but yet during the 70 minutes that were left. But yet we had 0 shots on target. That's crazy. Barcelona hadn't done that since 2014 against Malaga. 10 years we hadn't done that. So yes, the refereeing error was horrible, but we did not lose because of the referee. We lost because we had a terrible match. All right, let's go back to the news and let's talk about the injury blows because, ladies and gentlemen, more bad news. As if yesterday's defeat was not enough, as if yesterday's refereeing error was not enough, we have more bad news, starting with the news that Robert Lewandowski is injured. Now, this is the announcement that the Polish Football Association made today. They said the Polish Football Association has announced that Robert Lewandowski will not take part in November training camp of the Polish national team, preparing for the UEFA Nations League matches against Portugal and Scotland. The reason for the absence of the captain of the national team is a back injury he suffered in the league match against Real Sociedad, ruling him out of action for about 10 days. So Robert Lewandowski has suffered a back injury. In fact, yesterday he was seen leaving the stadium with not a full limp, but you could tell that he was walking with some pain. And while today he underwent tests and he has an injury to his back, which, by the way, I'm not surprised because if you've been watching every La Liga match, Lewandowski has been getting hits in the back almost every match. And almost every match, the referees have not said anything because apparently under La Liga rules, if your name is Robert Lewandowski, you can get hit without any consequences. That's fine, right? If you're Lewandowski, free for all, right? Hit him all you want. He's been getting hit a lot in the back. We've seen it time and time again in every match, and the referees have not said anything, so I'm not surprised. So Lewandowski will be out for 10 days because of that back injury, which, of course, is bad news. But on the other hand, the silver lining is A, he's not going to travel with the Polish team to play against Portugal and Scotland, so that's good. He's going to get 2-week rest. And B, the silver lining is that the FIFA international break is 2 weeks. He's going to be out for 10 days, which means not only is he going to get to rest, but by the time the international break is over, Lewandowski should be available for the first match back, which is against Celta Vigo on November 23rd, which, of course, as you know, matches against Celta Vigo are always difficult matches. So we are going to need as many players as we can, and Lewandowski, of course, will be available for that. So bad news about the injury, but the good news, he will get to rest, and he will be available for the first match back, which is Celta Vigo on November 3rd. But that is not all, ladies and gentlemen, because there's more bad news. And the other bad news is that Lamine Yamal has also been injured. And this was announced today by the club, by FC Barcelona, when they released the following statement. Tests performed on the morning of Monday, 11 November, have revealed that Lamine Yamal has grade 1 syndesmosis injury in his right ankle. He is expected to be out of action for between 2 to 3 weeks. So not a good news at all. Lamine Yamal suffering an ankle injury. Of course, we knew that he had suffered a knock against Red Star Belgrade. He had been receiving treatment for it so he can be fit for the Sociedad match. Treatment was not enough, or it wasn't enough time for him to heal, so he was left out of the match. We thought that was going to be it, but then today in the morning, he underwent more tests, and it revealed that the injury was more serious than what initially thought, so he will be out for 2 to 3 weeks. So that is not good news because, of course, a FIFA break is 2 weeks. So if he ends up being out for 3, that means that he will miss some matches. Now, the silver lining again is that Lamine will not travel with Spain. So he's going to stay in Barcelona recovering. So that's good. He'll get 2 weeks of rest, of recovery, of healing. But again, the concern is that he might end up taking 3 weeks. And if that happens, he's going to miss 3 matches. A match against Celta Vigo on November 23rd. A match against Brest in the Champions League on November 26th. And then the match against Las Palmas again on November 30th. So there's a risk there that Lamine could miss those 3 matches. And we've seen what Barcelona without Lamine Yamal looks like. It's a team that's not as dangerous without Lamine because Lamine gives you that, extra danger because with his dribbling, other teams have to send out 2-3 defenders to mark him, which not only is he capable of sometimes of getting past those defenders, but in doing that, it leaves a lot of spaces in the interior corridors, right? If the other team has to send defenders out to mark Lamine, it leaves gaps in the middle, which other players can exploit, like Raphinha, like Lewandowski, like Olmo, Pedri, etc. And without Lamine, there isn't that danger. You don't have to send 2-3 players to mark whoever has the ball on the right, whether it be Koundé or Fermin or whoever Flick decides to use. So that is not good news. Lamine injured, out 2 to 3 weeks. I guess the silver lining is that he will get some rest. And finally, Frenkie de Jong, who was seen limping after the match against Real Sociedad. In fact, he took a hit during the match. He looked like he was limping a little bit. He played a little more, and then he was taken out because he was feeling some pain. And he underwent some medical exams today, and he decided that he still was going to go and fly to the Dutch national team's camp, which this starts to bother me a little bit. We already have a problem with Frenkie de Jong, how much money we paid for his transfer, how much money we're paying him in salary, the fact that he's been inconsistent since he signed for us, the fact that he's refusing to pick up the phone and, answer the offer that Barcelona made him for renewal. And now he pulls the scrap, which is not the first time he pulls the scrap. Remember, last season when he was injured with his heel, he wanted to go to the Dutch camp. And eventually Koeman said no. Again, supposedly he's injured. He had to be subbed out. And yet he still chooses to go with the Netherlands. So you're too injured to play for the club that pays you a crap load of money, a lot more money than you deserve, but you're not injured enough to play for the Netherlands. Summer comes. I hope that Barcelona put this guy on the market because I'm starting to get sick and tired of his crap. But anyways, let's get back to the chat section, and then we will talk about the Lewandowski goal and the more proof and pictures that have come out showing that he indeed was not offside. And we do have a donation from my friend Blaurana Kule, who's always very generous with his donations. Says the refs, in my opinion, had their marching orders pre-match. Still, it does not excuse the sloppy-ass play we witnessed. 0 shot on target is completely inexcusable for a club the likes of Barcelona. I don't think the refs had their marching orders pre-match. I think what happened is they made a mistake. Then they realized that they had made a mistake. And instead of owning up to it, they were like, let's figure out a way to justify it. And I think that's why the computer rendering took so long. Because remember, whenever there's an offside, the computer rendering is usually released within a minute, 30 seconds, a minute. This time it took almost 10 minutes for us to see the computer rendering, which means that the system spit out the image. They were like, go for it. It's cancel it. And then they realized, oh, wait, this was wrong. So instead of, calling the ref on the field, be like, hey, sorry, we made a mistake. You need to allow the goal. They're like, no, we're going to double down on it. And we're going to just give you a bullshit frame and just, there you go. Justify our error. Because that's pretty much La Liga in a nutshell. These referees refuse to own up to their mistakes, and La Liga refuses to own up to these referees' mistakes. So this crap keeps happening and happening. Just today, they announced that there's a referee in the Premier League who has been suspended pending investigation for some stuff he did. That in the Premier League, you see all the time. A referee makes a gruesome mistake, he gets suspended 2 or 3 matches, depending on how bad it is. You see it all the freaking time. And that's why the Premier League is the best league in the world. In La Liga, you make a mistake, oh, crap. All right, let's figure out a way how to hide it. Let's figure out a way how to justify it. Instead of saying, let's figure out a way of not for this mistake not to happen again. No, let's figure out a way of justifying and burying it. Why? Why are you doubling down on your mistakes? What, you're too embarrassed to admit your mistake? It's more embarrassing for you to hide your mistake and try to justify it than it is if you would admit it and say, we're going to fix it. People would respect you for that. People would say, wow, good job, La Liga. You saw a mistake, you admitted it, and now you're trying to fix it. Versus, oh, we saw a mistake, so let's just justify it and let's come up with some BS excuse. Absolutely unacceptable. King Hut says, hey, Mo, after that match, I was just disappointed, but that doesn't take away from what we've done so far. Signing-wise, arrivals, Diego Costa, goalkeeper, CB, Jonathan Tyne, left back, Davis, left wing, Leao, and Gyökeres. I mean, out of all those, we could probably sign one. All those together is not even a dream, because sometimes dreams become a reality. I mean, at that point, and we're talking about Diogo Costa, who could cost around 60 mil. Davis, who, yeah, he could be free, but he wants a 15 million signing bonus plus a 20 million euro salary. We have Leao, who we're talking about 75 to 100 mil. We have Gyökeres, who could be 75 to 100 mil. You're talking about 300 million there in just signings and salaries. And with what money? With what money? All right, let's see. George says, Mo, we have to go for backup for Lewy and Yamal. We have a backup for Lewy. We have Pau Victor. What we need is someone to replace Lewy once he's ready to retire. That's the problem. FCB guy says 2 weeks of international football. Yeah, we're in the same boat, my friend. I am not happy whatsoever about the next 2 weeks without Barcelona football. But anyway, let's get back to the news, because we do have to talk about yesterday's goal. And yes, to preface it, as I've said a million times, that goal was not the reason why we lost. We lost because we played like crap. We lost because we had 0 shots on target. Let's be clear about this. So what I'm about to talk about is not an excuse. I'm not here crying, trying to blame our loss on the referee, trying to justify our loss, trying to justify a bad performance. This is not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is to show you how grotesque this mistake it was, because this mistake should not exist, should not have happened in A, what's supposed to be one of the best leagues in the world, and B, in 2024, when we have tens of millions of euros invested in technology that's supposed to prevent these errors to begin with. If this was 20, 30 years ago, where it's referees without any help, you're like, okay, fine. Humans make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But now we have VAR. We have semi-automatic offside. We have all these fancy cameras that you can slow it down, speed it up, zoom in, zoom out, different angles. So this should not be happening. So let's review it real quick. I'll show you first 2 images that you already saw yesterday, and then we will talk about new images have been released. As you know, this is the offside that supposedly, or the image of Lewandowski being supposedly offside. As you can see, clear as day, Real Sociedad's player's foot is in front of Lewandowski. No question about it. You see Lewandowski's wearing a yellow boot. The other guy's wearing a gray with some black striped boot. 2 different color boots. It's not even like, oh, they have the same color boot, so you can't really tell. No, you can tell clear as day that the Real Sociedad's foot, player's foot is horizontal. Lewandowski is vertical. They're forming a T. So the only way this image could be correct is that Lewandowski is either stepping on the foot of the Real Sociedad's defender, or his toes have daggers and they went through the foot of the Real Sociedad's defender. They just poked right through it, cut right through the foot, cut right through the boot, and the toes made that offside line. That's the only way this could happen, because again, Lewandowski's foot is forming a T, the letter T, with the Real Sociedad defender's foot. Now, another thing that I noticed, and this is I noticed after I did the post-match live analysis, look at the supposed Lewandowski, right? The avatar of Lewandowski. Look, where is it looking? It's looking to the side. Now let's go back to Lewy. Look where Lewy is looking. He's looking behind. So what that tells me is that this is a completely different frame that they use to justify the offside. Because here the avatar is looking to the side. Here, Lewy is looking back. So this is not the same frame. There's no way it's the same frame. But let's review more images. Now, these images are going to come from Archivo VAR or Archivo VAR. This is a project in La Liga where they analyze every single VAR call. whether it's correct or wrong. They analyze every VAR call and they tell you, yes, the referees got it right. No, the referees didn't get it right. And they do this for every single match, every single week. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at the images that they have shared because they analyzed the entire call. And I'm not going to play the video because otherwise I'm going to be flagged. But there are 4 frames, okay? As you can tell, this is probably the frame that they used. Here, as you can see, Lewandowski's foot is in front of the Real Sociedad player. You can see it right here. His toes are past him. But what's the problem with this? Is that here, Frankie de Jong has not made contact with the ball yet. And the offside rule says that the offside line is drawn as soon as the player hitting the ball makes contact with the ball. As soon as that player's foot touches the ball, that's when the offside line is drawn. So here, Frankie de Jong's foot, as you can see, has not made contact with the ball. The ball is right here. You can see it a little bit. And here's his foot. So he has not made contact. But yet, this is the frame they used. Here, Lewandowski is offside. But again, Frankie de Jong has not touched the ball. Now, let's look at frame 2. You see how his leg moved? Still hasn't made contact. Now look at the Real Sociedad player's foot. Now Lewandowski is not offsides. Now let's look at frame 3. Frankie de Jong's foot again moved. Still hasn't made contact. Now Lewy's even more onside because watch the Real Sociedad player's leg. It just went even forward, right? And then this is where Frankie actually hits the ball. There you go. Even more onside because the whole time the Real Sociedad's foot just keeps moving forward and forward, making Lewy onside. Again, here, Lewandowski 100% offside. You can see his toe. You can see it right here. It's peaking. But Frankie de Jong has not made contact with the ball. So this does not count. But yet this is the image that they used. Boom. Now he's onside. More onside. More onside. And this is the moment where Frankie de Jong touches the ball. This is the moment where they should have drawn the offside line because this is where Frankie's making contact with the ball. And here is the Real Sociedad player's leg. Clearly onside goal. And I think what happened is, and of course this is all speculation, is this is a semi-automatic system. What does that mean? Computer does the calculation, it gives you a result. Onside or offside. But it doesn't end there. This is why it's called semi-automatic. Then the referee in the VAR room has to check it, has to double check it. That's why it's called semi-automatic. If it was an automatic system, it would just be onside or offside. Done. No, here, it gives you a result, and then the ref has to check it in the VAR room. So what I think happened is the computer made an error, said offside. The referee in the VAR room did not bother to check it, called the ref on the field, hey, offside, disallow it. Referee on the field disallows it. Referee in the VAR room looks at it. He's like, wait a minute, this image looks funky. Oh, crap, it wasn't offside. But instead of being a man and admitting to my mistake and owning up to it and saying, hey, ref on the ground, I made a mistake, sorry. No. Double down on it and instead gave us this BS image, which is not the correct frame. This is the frame from before Frankie de Jong touched the ball. And that's where we at. Instead of owning up to their mistake, to learn from it, to make sure it never happens again, they double down on it. They use the incorrect frame to justify their mistake. And that to me is unacceptable. The error, fine, that can happen. Even computers have errors. But that's why it's semi-automatic. Because you're building a safety in the system. If the computer gets it wrong, there's the human to correct it. If the human gets it wrong, there's the computer to correct it. But instead, the fail-safe failed because the human in charge of double-checking the result did not do it, and instead decided to justify his error, doubling down on his error, and giving us a BS frame that had nothing to do with the actual moment of the offside goal. Anyways, let's get back to the comment section, and then we will talk about what the Royal Spanish Football Federation, Royal for royally horrendous, had to say about their horrendous mistake. Isa says that's $230. I heard, bro, things are hard here. Wow, $230. That's a lot of money, my friend. I'm very sorry that you lost. I hope you can recover that money, but yeah, that is a lot of money. Zach says, last match proved to me why we need other world-class players for depth like Leão or Jokic. Can't rely on Lamine all the time, kind of like when Messi was absent, Neymar always stepped up to save us. Yeah, I mean, right now we do. Our squad is still imbalanced, by the way. I mean, first of all, we have a huge age difference. We have players as old as Lewy, who's 36, and Inigo, who's 32 or 33. And then we have very, very young players like Lamine, who's 17, and Kouarsi, who's 17. So there's still an imbalance in the team, right? There's also not a lot of depth as far as difference makers. Our midfield is stacked. We're good there. But as far as attack, we're very, very thin on attackers, and we're very thin on attackers that can make a difference. What I mean by that is a player that gets on the field and can win you the match by himself. Someone like Lamine. And that's all we have, right? Lewy, goal scoring machine. But without someone getting on the ball in the box, he becomes irrelevant, right? Which is fine, whatever. That's always been his profile. Raphinha, really good player, team player, gives you 200% of effort, but is not at the level of Lamine, right? Is not someone who, when a team is doing bad, can just show up and change the outcome of the match alone, right? So our team is still in balance in that fact, where our team really works when everybody's having a great day. But the moment that the whole team doesn't work as a team, things fall apart because, again, we don't have those players like Messi, like Lamine, that can just, on their own, change the outcome of the match. So when Lamine is not on the field, there's no one else to do that effort and change the outcome of the match on their own. Now, of course, you can still win matches without Lamine, but as long as the whole team works as a team effort. And that's the problem. Now, can we start talking about players like Jokic and Leão, and we're not even under the 1-1 rule. So maybe next summer things will be better. How much better? I'm not sure, but you know. Triple X says Doku's dribbling are the worst. He's so predictable in his dribbling. Don't you watch City? I'm guessing that was directed at someone else. Berkey says, Mo, Berkey from Jamaica, tuning in. I believe that Barca is resting Lamine and Lewandowski. We need to protect our players. I would agree, but I don't think that's what's happening. You can see Lewandowski limping out of the stadium. And again, Lamine, he missed the match yesterday. So, I mean, had Lamine played the full 90 minutes and then after the match, Barca would have been, hey, he's injured. Maybe you're like, okay, this sounds a little fishy. You know, a little bit convenient, but I don't think that's what's going on. Let's see. Mark says the left winger Barca needs is Lookman. I think if Lookman comes, the best thing would be is just all the puns that you can make of his name. I think that would be a huge boost. But no, yeah, he's a good winger. But I think it would be a lot more fun if we had him just for that fact. Because you could be like, look, man, just scored a goal. FCB Kai says, what's your thoughts on a Davis link with Barca because Balde would be benched? I don't see it happening. I talked about this in a previous video. Bild, the German outlet Bild, who are very close to Bayern, and they have very reliable reports on Bayern. They said supposedly Flick had asked Deco to try to sign Davis, and I said it just doesn't add up. Doesn't add up because Flick has never asked for any players. You know, whenever Deco has wanted to sign someone, he's brought it up to Flick, like, hey, do you think this player will be good? And Flick has either said yes or no. But Flick hasn't, until this moment, has not said, I want this guy, sign him. So to read a report that he's talking about sign Davis, Doesn't add up. A second reason why I don't think that report really adds up is because, again, Davis wants 50 million euro signing bonus and a 20 million euro salary, things that Barcelona cannot afford. And finally, we have Balde. And Barcelona want to count on Balde as the starter, right? Because he's a great option. He might not be as good as Davis, but he's still a great option. And Flick believes in him. So why would you bring someone else like Davis and then just have Balde completely on the bench when Balde could be he's a valid option. Yes, he's not good as Davis, but he's also not, Junior Firpo, right? So Mar says, Mo, I see our own fans saying that Fermin is trash and honestly obsessive because the guy was playing out of position, and what's worse, he's playing a position I've never seen him playing before. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Just better to ignore the noise because people are like that. A player gives you a great game, you're like, the GOAT, best ever. Next match, they do bad. The worst. Fire him. It's just how it is. Shamar says, do you think it's time for Barca to stop playing players out of position while they have the correct players in those vacant positions? Fermin as a right wing and Pedri as count. I think it was out of necessity, right? Because who else could have played in that position? Raphinha, sure. But then that would have left the left wing vacant. And we know that Raphinha does better as a left winger. So you put Raphinha on the left wing, who's left to play as a right winger? Nobody. It's just Lamine, right? We don't have anyone that can play there. So having Fermin playing that, it was out of necessity. Simple as that, because there's no one to replace Lamine. Again, Raphinha is technically a right winger, but he does much better on the left now. So if that's where he does better, that's where you want him, which leaves, obviously, the right wing completely vacant. Kino says, missing Lamine yesterday really hurt us since we don't have a natural left winger to spread the field with that. I'd go back from Nico Williams for 58 and Alvaro Valles on a free transfer. We do need someone on the left. We definitely need someone on the left. We need two wingers that can create damage. They can spread out the defensive block with their dribbling. And plus, like I said, when Lamine has the ball, other teams are obligated to send 2-3 defenders, which leaves a lot of holes in the interior. Imagine if we had someone like him who can dribble on the left. Now you're stretching out the other team even more because now they're sending two guys to guard Lamine and two guys to guard whoever we have on the left. Now the middle is just wide open for Raphinha, for Lewy, for Pedri, Olmo, whoever. Wide open for anyone to come in and take advantage. Now, if the defense shrinks to stop those guys coming from the middle, so now it leaves Lamine and whomever on the left to just do damage and just go all the way to the back line and do dangerous crosses. So we do need someone on the left wing that's a specialist, that's an actual left winger. Anyways, let's do the last bit of news and then we'll do more comments, I promise. But let's talk about the Royal Spanish Football Federation's reaction to Lewandowski's goal because, of course, there was a lot of talks last night after the match. Every outlet was talking about what happened in the match against Real Sociedad. There was a lot of uproar. There's a lot of people who were upset. And, of course, the Royal Spanish Football Federation had to respond. And this was their response to what happened yesterday. It is normal explanation. There's a possible offside. The technology comes in, and it was assessed as offside. Nothing more to say. That's it. The computer said it, so what the hell? Technology comes to help football, to help refereeing, and in this case, it also helped. Apparently, getting the decision wrong is helping. Often criticisms are made out of ignorance. No, my friend, that was not ignorance. The images are clear as day. It works with 10 additional cameras, something that was not available. Oh, so because it's 10 additional cameras, that's it. Close the debate, it's over. There are 29 points tracked on each of the players. One of the points is the foot of each of the players, and it went offside. The referee was informed and made the decision. Nothing new. That doesn't happen in every single match in Primera and Segunda. So there you have it, folks. Instead of saying, hey, something obviously went wrong, let's investigate what went wrong. Let's learn from it. Let's improve on it. Let's make sure it never happens. No. Computer said it, so it's not my business. I don't care. If the computer says it's offside, it's offside. There you go. There you have it, the response. Exactly what I thought was going to happen. I said in a post-match live analysis, I said, I hope La Liga recognizes their mistake and learn from it and improve on it. But my feeling is that nothing's going to happen. And while today the Royal Spanish Football Federation confirming that nothing indeed is going to happen. That's it. Computer said it's offside, so it's offside. We don't care that the computer was wrong. We don't care that every image that has surfaced shows that the computer was wrong. Who cares, right? Not my problem. So have a good night and have fun. All right, let's go back to the comment section, and then we will end the live stream. But let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see. FCB Kai says, if Barca was to do that, wouldn't that mean Raphinha or Yamal would have been benched? Not sure what you're talking about. If you can clarify down below, I'll be happy to read your comment. Romain says, we've seen this in La Liga over and over again. As long as it benefits Real Madrid, the league is for it. And Jabba the Hat says, the problem with world-class players on the bench is that they don't want to be on the bench. They want to start. Look at Julian Alvarez. They didn't want to be on the bench and Haaland substitute. That's 100% correct. That's why you cannot have 2 world-class players per position. Ideally, yes, you want to have 11 stars on the field and 11 stars on the bench, and that way when you substitute, it's like nothing happened, right? Level or the quality of the team stays up high, but that's just impossible. Impossible because of money. There's no way you can afford 22 stars. Between salary and transfer fees, you would go bankrupt. B, financial fair play would never let you have 22 stars unless you're PSG, but they get to skirt financial fair play rules all the time. And C, like you said, even if you can't afford it, even if financial fair play allows it, no player wants to be a bench. I mean, Leao just got benched, and then he's already, I went out. I'm not going to be on a bench, right? And that's what happens. It causes problems, and so you can't. So if Leao comes, Balde's going to have to leave. Balde's not going to stay in Barcelona to be Leao's, sorry, not Leao, Davis. He's not going to be Davis's substitute. He's just not. All right, let's see. Barcejo says, hi, Mo. First time to catch you online. I was hoping yesterday the team would give me a nice birthday present. I guess I will take El Clásico as the present. Well, happy birthday, my friend. And I'm sorry the Barca couldn't give you a gift. I don't think Barca's playing on my birthday. No, they're not. They're playing the following day against Las Palmas. I have the same birthday as Barcelona, November 29th. And Barcelona are playing the following day against Las Palmas at home. So Jeff says, whenever the opponent presses us with intensity, we struggle to play from the back to keep possession of the ball. Look at El Clásico, Bayern, and yesterday, as soon as De Jong left, we struggle. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think a lot of teams have tried to pressure us, and then eventually we were able, Bayern pressed us, and we were struggling at first, but then eventually we made some adjustments, and we were able to come off from their pressure. Same with Real Madrid. I wouldn't necessarily say that's always the case. I think we've struggled, but we've always managed and found ways to get rid of the press. Carlos says, what happened to Raphinha yesterday? He was missing the ball horribly, and a team couldn't make a pass. One bad game. It's okay. I mean, honestly, the whole team was bad. I wouldn't blame it on Raphinha. Everybody was bad. Just nothing worked. The team could not make 2 passes in a row. It's just nothing worked. And nobody showed up or nobody stepped up, and the whole team just did not work. That's all. I wouldn't blame Raphinha. I wouldn't blame Pedri. I wouldn't blame Lewandowski. Simply nothing worked for us. The only players who I might not say anything bad was probably Cubarsí and Iñigo, and that's about it. Let's see. Lucius says, long since I've left a comment, but hi, Mo, what should Barca try to sign loan during winter transfer window? Winter's tough. Winter's tough because there aren't that many available players. So I don't know. As far as selling, Barcelona don't want to sell anyone. Now, obviously, if an offer comes for Ferran, I'm all for it. Sell him. But I don't think anything's going to happen in the winter. I don't know. I don't see it. Unless Barcelona try to sign an emergency right winger or an emergency left winger, which in that case, I don't like emergency signings because they're always players who are not up to par. That's why they're an emergency signing, right? Because they're available, they're low cost, and the reason why they're available and they're low cost is because nobody else wants them. And we've already seen what emergency signings look like, and I don't know if that's the way to go. Carlos says, I don't know why he didn't play Pau Victor instead of Fermin. Pau has shown he's good on the wings. Something must be going on with Pau Victor because he hasn't been getting a lot of minutes. Not on the right wing, not on the left wing, not as a center forward. So something must be going on in trainings where Flick is just not fully sold on Pau Victor. That's my guess. Larry says, hey Mo, any updates on how Daniel Rodriguez doing with his injury? I think he's out until next year, if I'm not mistaken. He's out for several months. Let's see. Sanjak says the biggest shocker was 0 shots on target. Yeah, big time. Again, we hadn't done that since 2014 against Malaga. 10 years we hadn't done that, and we did it yesterday. And T-Bird says, Mo, hypothetical, Enzo for De Jong, 100%. 200%, not even 100. I will take Enzo any day. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, Enzo's looking to leave Chelsea because, again, as we talked about a few moments ago, big stars don't want to be on the bench. And Enzo has been on the bench, of course, because Chelsea, they have 82 players on their roster. And Enzo's looking to leave, and Chelsea's open for him to leave on loan. So if they can loan him to us on the winter transfer market, hey, I'm all for it. I will take Enzo over De Jong any day of the week. All right. Anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in, for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, your generous donations. I will see you in the next video. I don't know if I'll be uploading another video tonight because I have to work. We have trial tomorrow. Some stuff I need to do. So I don't know if I'll be making another video, but if I do, you'll see it. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. But either way, thank you guys for watching. Have a good night. And as always, peace, Barca.